All right. Hello, everybody. How's it going today? Great to see you. Thank you so much for taking some time today to take a look at what's coming through for you. We're going to be looking at Virgo today, and we're going to focus on really all of the messages coming through for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And one of the really cool things about doing the January forecast, which we'll be looking at right now, is we're going to have a chance to also take a sneak peek into 2022. So I'll remember to do that at the midpoint today. And as always, we'll kind of just see where spirit and energy takes us. So my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. My little furry assistant here is Apollo. And let me talk a little bit about the overall organization, and then I'll get straight into the reading for you. So I always like to begin with channeled messages. I have them on the table here. Those come to me through dreams, through meditation, and also through the active research and automatic writing, which I do right before I get started here. After we do that, we'll take a look at the Celtic Cross. And the Celtic Cross gives us a chance. I'm going to put my puppy down here. That gives us a chance to just kind of dig a little bit deeper into seeing what's available, both the opportunities and some of the challenges in the month ahead. I always like to dig a little bit deeper and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny after that, which will allow us to see those points that I know that we all care about, and just let that center part of the Celtic Cross take on whatever energy it needs to. Then we go into blessings and blocks, which are things to really, really embrace and potentially avoid. And this is the point where I'll throw out a viewer poll for you, and then we'll look at the 2022 energy, looking at past, present, and future energy for the year ahead. At the very end here, I always like to wrap up with a meditation and then a final card that helps us sort of encapsulate any sort of questions or things that you might be looking at. Let me go ahead and grab my iPad, which I left over on the other side of my room. We're going to take a look at today's totem, which is a sparrow. So let me just grab this and we'll take a look at some of the messages coming through from this lovely totem. So when I was getting ready this morning, an old song came to mind, and it may not have been popular everywhere, but like when I was a kid, I think, well, they still have this on public broadcasting here. It's Sesame Street. And one of the songs that was created for the show was Sing a Song. And then it was popularized by a group in the 70s and 80s, the Carpenters. So you probably have heard their rendition on like oldies radio. But let me just pull up the sparrow here, because I was shown the sparrow and I kept hearing the song. And I'm going to kind of connect both of them, both the lyrics of the sparrow lyrics of the song, and then also the characteristics of the sparrow. So let me just show you an image. I think most of us have seen this cute little bird. It isn't native to like North America. It's actually native to parts of Europe and Mediterranean and I think Asia, but it's been introduced just about everywhere. And it's pretty adaptable. There's a lot of different variations in color and everything. This bird gets around, and it's a survivor. And I think it's a really cool totem to come through for you today. So let's talk a little bit about how it relates to you and why we should pay attention to the messages from this sign. Okay. So it's a house sparrow, to be specific. There's a lot of different types, and it's not the old world one. It's the house one that came to me. It symbolizes a lot of things, communication, which we'll talk about later, but also this sort of boss mentality, thinking of like Queen or the King of Wands energy, and then adaptability, because it's living in a lot of locations that it shouldn't be, again, in parts of North and South America, different parts of the globe, even Africa, and it was introduced there. It isn't native to those different continents and countries, but it's there nonetheless. And it also has this sort of recycling and even sometimes like taking things that it shouldn't have, but it gets what it wants. So that's something that's interesting. And then it also has this broad outreach, which we've just been talking about. Okay. So a little tiny bird actually packs a lot of information and a lot of sort of importance. So we're going to unpackage this right now. As I said just a moment ago, their adaptability has allowed them to flourish all around the globe, far past their points of origin. It's telling you that you can embrace two cards in particular, the World and the Fool. You may find yourself straddling one or the other. It's interesting because those are the bookends of tarot. So the beginning is the Fool. It's the number 0. And then we have tarot all the way, we have the World all the way at the other end of the major arcana. And this is basically the story of growing up, if you will, or if you kind of go through the story of the Fool. And then it kind of recycles back to the Fool at the end. It's kind of like reincarnation or starting anew. At the end of every cycle is a new cycle. So you're either wrapping one up or you're starting one right now. And because we're right on the precipice of a new year, because we're looking at January 2022, this makes a lot of sense. That means for those of you that are watching a little bit ahead in December, let's wrap things up. Let's get things sort of sorted out so that you can really walk into a new path in the new year. Okay? So that's what I just said. Let go of things that you've outgrown as well. So recently I was looking through my closet, for instance. This is a great way to start. You can, whether it's sort of like things that you're not using, like old decorations or, furniture or whatever, or clothing that no longer fits you. It's better to kind of get rid of that old energy, because especially with clothing, by the way, and if it's just yours and you're not holding on to any sort of special attachment to it, let's say you've been through a really challenging year. Let's say there's been a lot going on and the clothing doesn't look so good and you don't feel comfortable in it anymore. When you let go of that, you're letting go of some of the energetic attachments that have also kind of clung on to that. So this is a time where I would give you permission to go out, and if something is on sale, get that and allow yourself to try on a sort of new persona when you're trying on the outfit. You don't have to spend a lot. It's just basically about the symbolic removal and adding of something new. Okay. The World card is also a very, very, very auspicious card because it's the graduation point of the major arcana. So it shows, like I said, kind of finishing, completing, but it can also be sharing, broadcasting, publishing, distributing, or disseminating something. And so that can be products, thoughts, or ideas. So for those of you that are ready for something to be shared with the world, this is the time to do it. And again, whenever I do these sorts of readings, it's for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So between now and the end of January, it feels like it's a really good time to kick something off, to share something, to pitch an idea, to try to publish, produce, or distribute something. So for those of you that are in a professional field, this is basically spirit coming through and saying, what are you waiting for? What do you need to get done? And there'll be an answer to that. Some of you have some little finishing touches that you need to put on things, and you should be able to figure that out, as the days and weeks progress. Okay. It's also about knowledge expansion, education. It can also be about traveling or moving, the World card. And unlike, the Tower, where you're trying to find a place, the World is usually a very clear decision of, I'm done with this and I know I'm going here. So there should be some clarity coming into what you want to walk away from or what you want to walk toward. All right. Then looking at the Fool here, it's starting something brand new. Like I said, it's not just the start point, but it's also a return point. And it's just like each and every life. We begin anew. We're the little baby. We're walking into the world again with a fresh perspective. It has the number 0. Like technically that's the number, but it kind of has no number. But the number 0, which is a fresh slate, clean slate. And if you think of what happens in like a hard drive, you can zero a hard drive, which also kind of completely lets go of all of the old information. It's a way to make sure that there's no remnants. So if you ever wanted to let go of a habit that you didn't like, maybe like smoking or drinking too much or eating too much, this is a great time to put that into practice, because the zeroing out energy, like we would see in computer code, it kind of is the same thing that comes with the Fool. It's saying, we're really going to erase this. We're not just clearing it, we're doing a full erasure of it. So there's power in starting fresh like that. Even though it's the beginning card, you always have to start somewhere. And if we didn't have a beginning card, nothing would ever go anywhere. So I would say the World and the Fool are equally as powerful, because one is wrapping up and one is beginning. So one thing that you want to be mindful of, sometimes we hold on to things because we think that's it. This is it. I can't do anything else. This is as good as it gets. This is the only person I'm going to meet. Those limiting thoughts are, in effect, creating a reality. So when you open up and say, I'm ready for something bigger, better, brighter, something more expansive, something that really surpasses my expectations, you're telling the universe that I don't feel limited. Show me what else there is. And you embrace the energy of the Fool, which has a little bit of freedom, a little bit of a vagabond energy to it. It's a very sort of, very expressive, very kind of explorative energy. So try to be the explorer this month and see what the universe has to show for you. It's your oyster. So don't feel like this is it. We don't want the Four of Pentacles, which I've been talking about a lot. We need to release. I just did a great reading this weekend because you chose this topic and I loved it, taking a leap of faith. So this is the time to take a leap of faith, possibly even cut your losses and walk away from something. So you have to decide, am I walking toward or am I walking away? And you can do both with equal aplomb this month, with equal success. So for those of you that are really, really ready to leave a job, leave a relationship, leave an apartment that you don't like, things are starting to open up for you if you're willing to look at the synchronicities. Because I do believe that this is a really powerful portal of energy that's opening up for you. Of course, this is the card of walking. So it's a great way not just to get some exercise if your body allows it. It's also a great way for you to clear your mind and open up your intuitive channel. So for those of you that aren't really big fans of traditional exercise, you can walk. And of course, anything that you change with your health, you should always talk to your doctor. But walking is a pretty safe way to introduce low impact exercise. And it allows you to organically bump into new things in your environment. So new friendships, new experiences. Maybe you decide to walk into a cafe and try something new. You meet someone on the street, you meet a pet as you're walking or whatever. There's all these opportunities to have new connections that you wouldn't have if you were just driving or taking public transport. So try something like that and see if that doesn't help. And just if you're having a difficult time in communication, creatively, if you have a block, just take a walk, a 10-minute walk, and see what kind of comes through to you in that period. Okay. Going back into the sparrow and some of their characteristics, their chirping is really recognizable, and it reminds us to speak our minds, to speak up. Let me see if I have a little, I think I had a little clip of the sparrow singing here, if I can play maybe a couple seconds, because I don't want to, I don't have it handy, but we all know, actually, here it is. All right, so I'll turn up my volume for a second and you can hear it. It's pretty loud when you listen to it, or if you run into this sort of energy. Really kind of distinct little chirps that it's going to make. And we've all heard it. It's not quite as sweet as a sparrow, or as a sort of, not a sparrow, but a finch, but it's kind of in that really high pitch. So when you're listening to the sparrow sing, it's a reminder, it's time to speak up. And that's why when I was getting ready this morning, I kept hearing a song that, like, when I was a kid, I heard on television, which was like sing a song. And if you look at the lyrics of that song, there's a line in there that says, "Don't worry if it's not good enough for anyone else to hear, just sing it." And what it's really saying is get outside of your head space. One thing that I'm so grateful for this experience here on YouTube, and also just tarot in general, is that it allowed me to not criticize, because you can't be critical if you're looking at the cards, because you have to just be a conduit, a channel. So you learn to just speak. So speak the truth or sing a song, it's all kind of the same. So if you allow yourself to really go with what your intuitive flow is, then you're going to actually be so much more connected to source, and people are going to resonate with what you have to say, because it's unfiltered. That doesn't mean to say everything that comes to your mind. We have to kind of use certain filters, but it does mean that we shouldn't hold back if there's an idea that we want to explore. There's something valid in it, or it wouldn't have come to you. So take a chance and say what needs to be said. Use your own words and your own voice. This is the other piece from that song that was important. So in that one, it was more about like the voice or the tone. But I would say also for many of us, we may be intimidated by someone else's vocabulary, or by the tone in which they speak, the way in which they hold themselves. And the truth is that effective communication, just like singing, it's not so much about perfection, but it's about authenticity. It's about how the tone resonates with you. So there can be someone that uses all the best words, but puts you to sleep, right? And then there can be someone who is kind of more using just everyday conversational English or whatever, but it really resonates because they're saying something that's honest. They're saying something that's useful. And you really kind of react to the way that they're speaking. So Trust yourself, believe in yourself, and trust that your words and your voice and your tone is exactly the way. It's the channel that needs to be used for this moment in time. Okay. Now for the tricky part with the sparrow. I always look at the positive and then the not so positive here with our totems. Sparrows get what they want. So in that respect, we'll look at that first. I think that's a cool energy. If you really want something, you have the capacity to find a way. But let's elevate the behavior of a sparrow because it is known to steal food, sometimes even out of other birds' mouths. And it also takes over other birds' nests. We don't like that. Obviously, it's a great survival technique, so it's working for them. And when it comes to evolution, maybe it's a good thing. When it comes to a totem for us, this isn't something that we want to embrace. It has energy of the devil, the seven of swords, and the moon. I didn't have room to fit all of them, but it definitely encompasses all of those. So what you want to look at this month is where are people testing your boundaries? Wherever they're doing this, you want to establish firm no's and firm boundaries on things that don't feel right to you. So stand firm and establish what's acceptable. So if someone tries something, you have to speak up in the moment. I talked a little bit, I think even in the collective on Sunday about this, where it's so important for you to just, in the moment, when it's something that can still be trained, learned, or fixed, to say something. When you wait months, weeks, years after something has happened, it becomes more sort of like, he said, she said, he said, she said, whatever, however you want to put it together, but it's you versus me. So do it when it's very visible and very clear and say, hey, maybe this worked with someone else. It doesn't work with me. What's going on? Let's get to the bottom of this just to make sure that we're on the same page, because I want us to work together or live together, whatever it is. Just say, I think if someone tries this with me, I would say, everybody gets one mistake, but this is it. It's really important to have transparency and honesty. So this is your first and final warning with respect to this. Stand firm, because that's the only way you're going to get around that Seven of Swords energy. If someone's just acting out, it's a lot different. Like if you have a child and they're acting up or acting out, they may actually be trying to get attention so that you can help them with something. So rather than punishing, it's always better in these situations when there's not sort of malice and intent to just say, what's going on? How are you feeling? This isn't how you normally act, especially with children, or especially with someone in your life that has always been really dependable. So if they act out of sorts or do something that's wrong, say, are you okay? And if you are okay, then this isn't okay, and we need to talk about that. But give them a chance to sort of like contextualize their behavior and then set the sort of expectations and the boundaries. And I think that'll be great to kind of just help get rid of that. So there you go. And it has to stop with any of this. Again, we're looking at like stealing or getting away with things or being pushy. The other one that would come through is like Seven of Wands or the 10 of Wands reversed, which is people trying to push their energy. So push back, by the way, if something doesn't feel right, especially if it comes to contracts. So if someone's trying to get you to, even if it's an informal verbal contract, if someone wants you to say, like, isn't that right? Or won't you do this? Or you agreed to do this, right? If you didn't, or if you don't want to do it, speak up then and say, no, let's back this up a little bit. I'm not comfortable with this, or you can do this, but I have a lot of, reservations. So I just want to put that on the record. Ask questions, even if you're told not to ask questions. Sometimes we have bosses or parents or people in our lives that just say, just do it. You don't have to just do it. That's how like a lot of big mistakes happen. So it's okay to question. It's okay to kind of try to understand something. Obviously, if you're in certain situations where there's a chain of command, like if it's military, government, or whatever, it's hard, but sometimes people force you to do the wrong things. So if you don't feel comfortable, this is where you have the fool moment, the world/fool moment, which is, do I stay or do I go? Because if you can't change the system, then you have to maintain your own sort of integrity and your own sort of morals. And there might be a moment where something just doesn't feel right and you decide to go in a different path. And that's okay. And of course, I'd be remiss not to mention this, which is to just spread your wings and try something new. Because this bird is so adaptable, because it was able to basically canvas the globe, not of its own sort of making, but like it was brought to different places and freed into the wild, and it just kind of, took over. Like even parrots have done this too. Then you have this ability in a new environment, even if you're thrust into it and you think, how am I going to do this? You're going to be okay. So let's imagine you have a tower moment that's not catastrophic. It's just like you're being moved. Maybe your partner got a job and you decided to follow them. Maybe you're traveling with your family. Maybe you just needed to do something different and you decided to uproot yourself and go somewhere else. It may feel weird at the beginning, but you're going to find a way to adapt. And that is basically the big idea when it comes to the channeled messages, is this adaptability, this openness with communication, opening your throat chakra. The fact that my guides were playing a song that it's basically a command. Sing a song. Sing a song. Make it simple, make it strong. I mean, like, you've got what you need there. Be concise, be vocal, and start speaking this month and start working on this. You can use singing as a way to open up your throat chakra. So it doesn't have to just be meditation. Singing is great. And if it sounds not so good, sing in your car, sing in your shower, it doesn't matter. Just have fun, and that joy that you have is going to be something that people really connect with. Okay. So these are the main messages coming through in the channeled portion of this reading. I'm going to stack up all of these index cards, and we're going to move along to the next portion. We're going to look at the Celtic Cross next. You can always use my readings for sun, rising, and moon, also Venus, any aspect of your chart that you would like to see. You know, I saw at the beginning that there were questions being asked. I don't answer questions directly in this reading, but if you stick around until the end, there is a special portion where I'll open up and allow you to kind of meditate on something, and I'll pull a card. So save those questions for the end. Let me quickly give you a link to my upcoming schedule in case you want to see it, and also just my website in general, where you can find some information about me. So if you're wondering what's going on, I'm going to actually give you my social media one too, because it seems to be a common question, like, where's my social media? So I'll put that link up there in case you need it, and you can find all the other information on the website, including when I go live, which is every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday, unless otherwise noted on the website. Before we begin, just a couple of quick notes. Maria Margarita is the moderator today. She can answer any high-level questions. So be kind to her and feel free to ask her something if you need it. If you want to show some support today, you can use this little button by the smiley face. It's where you can become a channel member. You can give a super sticker or super chat. It allows me to keep buying new cards and to keep sort of doing new readings. And like I said, I'm going to launch some new projects next year. So if you want to help out, that's a great way to show some support. There's a free way to do it as well. You can just hit the like button and also subscribe if you're brand new. And finally, if you happen to be catching this on replay, there's a super thanks button. All of these are optional, but a great way to kind of give back and be a part of the community. And all of the information that I hand wrote here, you'll be able to see on my social media platforms, which I pinned up above. So you can click on that to go to my website for all of the official ways to connect with me. All right, let me go ahead now and grab some water, because I forgot to grab that. And then we're going to shuffle the cards today and look and see what's coming through, like I said, for the next 6 to 8 weeks ahead of us. All right. Hope everybody's doing well today. And like I said, if you haven't had a chance to take a look yet at my weekend collective, this is a great time to do that. So it'll be available and valid for the next 7 days. It's on my main YouTube page. All right. Let's take a look at the energy for you for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And right off the bat, we got the Fool card. So nice synchronicity. Got a beautiful bird's nest here with the Six of Wands. Loving what we're seeing here with synchronicities. Judgment card. Step to get into the World card. So got some really interesting energy coming through here. Let me just take a sip of this drink, which I grabbed. Okay, so we have the wholeness card here coming through in your catalyst position. If you're new to my channel, the catalyst functions as a sort of vehicle or a tool for us to really kind of reach for the highest possibility, stay on the right track, create some action. So we have the heart center coming through, beautiful green energy everywhere. A lot of times people mistakenly think that it's red. That would be your first chakra. Rose can work for the heart, but it's mostly like green. So I love that we see this green energy here, really following your heart, really allowing for, and we see so much relationship energy here. I saw the Princess of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the Three of Cups. So there's a lot of new people, a lot of new openings happening when it comes to love and relationships this month, which I only say it if I see it, and I do see it. So we really want to, I want to encourage you to focus on the heart space. And the message that Lord Ganesha is giving you here is that you are already whole. You do not have a better half, your other half, a missing piece. I like it, like, let's even take the soul portion out. Like, partners or mates are just that. They are friends, they are complements, they are reflections, but they're not a missing puzzle piece. So to all of the Hollywood and other movies and books out there that have created this illusion that you are not whole, this card is saying you in fact are. And if you are not feeling whole, then your journey over the next 6 to 8 weeks is to focus on completing yourself without focusing on partners. So you can be single and completely happy, whole, and very healthy. You can be in a relationship, and that relationship does not take over you or define you. This is about reestablishing your wholeness, either independently or in a relationship, okay? Wherever you are, you're whole. That's what Ganesh is saying. And the heck with any of the Hollywood books and all that stuff out there that's saying you need to find someone. All the holiday shows on television right now are ridiculous. If you tune into especially things like Hallmark, Lifetime, and also just generally, even on Netflix now, you're seeing a bunch of holiday shows where there's a common theme that you need to leave your job, go back to your hometown, and find a partner. That is not what the holidays are about. We don't need to just be partnered to be happy. So you're whole as it is, whether or not you have that person. And the holiday season is a chance for you to celebrate. Again, we're at the end of a year and the beginning of a new year. So don't let the mirage and the sort of backdrop that's kind of put behind us create an illusion that you are missing something, that you are not whole. Okay? That is a story that is fictitious. And we need to have some new ideas for holiday season. It is not what is being portrayed. It's become very warped over the past 15 years, actually. There's probably 3 or 4 plot lines in holiday movies. And almost all of them involve going back to a small rural place and leaving everything and then finding someone. So that's one story that may work for one person, but that's not the universal narrative. I'd love to see different narratives put out there. And if we just take the holiday piece out, a lot of things that happen to all of us is we can look at our friends and family, and they're living their truth, their narrative, their life. Mom and dad may have had a different experience where they were married by a certain age, they had a job by a certain age, they had a house by a certain age, but you're not your mom and your dad. You're not your aunt or your uncle. You're not your best friend, your brother, or your sister. And to live their life would be cheating yourself of your own experience. So you may do all of that sooner. You may do none of that and something completely different. It doesn't matter as long as it's what you want. Okay? So you are whole. You have your own vision. You have your own path. It can be a little intimidating sometimes, especially when you're the fool starting something new, which we have here. Can't make that one up because it was just organically came through at the center. So this is your chance to find your voice or your path. Okay? So we have the Fool front and center. She's reversed in this particular deck, but what's interesting about this is whether or not this is reversed, it's still a positive card. And it's just a matter of accepting or embracing a new start. So sometimes we see something coming like from a mile away, and you just have a hard time sort of thinking, all right, this is where we're going, or this is what I need to do. So this is just encouraging you to look beyond the illusion, the fear, the whatever it is that's holding you back from that. Look at how she's transparent and you can see through it. Not everything is going to show itself in the beginning. A lot of times we don't have like the contextual experience or knowledge or understanding to see it. Another example of this would be, have you ever listened to a song as an adult that you listened to as a child, and all of a sudden the the innocence is taken away? You're like, oh my God, that's not just a song about dancing or working or this or that. It's something different. You see it from another perspective. You're going to see your life from a different perspective one day from now, 1 week from now, 1 month from now. And you'll look back and you'll laugh a little bit at the naivete or what was missing. So I want you to just trust that there's some pieces that are going to start to fill in. It doesn't all happen immediately. What is important is to revisit, and the Fool is asking you to go back and revisit some things as you take your journey. So let's say you are 5 years into a new path, or 7 years into a new path, or 7 days into a new path. I want you to look at, how do I feel today? Where did I come from? And for some of you, it might make sense to also document milestones. I was talking on the weekend, I think the weekend, there's so many readings that I do, they blur together sometimes. But the importance of, like when you have a little kid, you would take a closet door and use a marker and show how big they are, how tall they are at certain ages. For those of you that might be trying to get fit, you take different pictures to show the changes in your body as you build muscle and stuff like that. So we need to do snapshots in our life too, to sort of see like, yeah, this is where I started from. Maybe it's financially, maybe it's emotional well-being, maybe it is something physical. It's like construction of a house. If you take before, during, and after, you really see that journey. So keep looking back and seeing, how am I tracking? Where is it working? Where does the foundation need to be firmed up a little bit? And that's going to help you as you start the journey. But have some fun, take some risks, listen to my weekend collective about taking a leap of faith. And that should sort of help you on this new path and new journey. Those special topics on the collective, just a fancy word for everyone is welcome. Those collective readings can be used evergreen, especially if there's a topic that you want. You can go back and just listen to the special topic portion whenever you need it. So if you're watching this in January, you can go to my collective playlist and just look for the one that's about taking a leap of faith, starting something new, turning a new corner, or turning a new leaf. All right. Again, you can't make it up. I was drawn to use this deck today, so now I understand why. We have success here personified as a bird in a nest, right? And this bird has a bunch of little things and trinkets that it's gotten here. Kind of interesting that I learned that the sparrow likes to borrow and take things. The other bird that will do this, but it does it as a gift, is, I think it's ravens or crows. If you take care of them, they'll go out and they'll forage for little things, like they'll find a ring or a little bauble or things like this. They say thank you for feeding them. So it can be that sort of gratitude. It can also just be, if we look really close here, we see the dice. So taking a risk. We see the daisy, which is growth and abundance. And I got to put on my glasses to see the other thing. It's just a coin. Yeah. So what we're looking at here is abundance, risk, and growth. And these are the things that really bring about what we see with the Six of Wands here, which is success personified by the bird. Got to use your voice, got to take some chances, and you have to believe that you can get what you want. We'll take the good piece of the sparrow, which is, I'm going to find a way. We're not going to be pushy. We're not going to, you're not going to steal and stuff. You can be a little pushy when it comes to trying to get a job. I think there are areas where you want to speak up and be vocal and show that you're interested. But ultimately, this is just saying that a new beginning, even if it's unexpected or if all the details aren't there, looks auspicious, looks positive to me. I like what I'm seeing here. Okay. So embrace it. You got the whole world in your hands with this particular card, and it's up to you with what you want to do with all the sort of tools in your toolbox or toolshed. Are you ready? Have you accepted this calling? Because the Judgment card can be a calling for you. It's in the deep past right now. So the universe has been coming in and saying, hey, we see what's ready for, like, this is here for you. Are you ready? And so it's sort of like call and answer. The answer piece is in your court right now. Are you ready to answer? Are you ready to say, yes, I accept? Because if you are, things are going to really start to kick off in a great way. Judgment also has to deal with acceptance of something that is underway. The decision has either been made or you've already internalized it, but you haven't acted upon it. So what is your next step? This is rising from the ashes. This is a second chance. If you failed, if you had blocks, if people said no, try again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. And if you look at these three central cards, they tell a nice story. So something didn't work, but you try again, and this time it's successful. Past, present, and where it's leading you. Okay, what it's all about. So even before we get to the end, which is the tower, by the way, I can tell you that this is going to be a positive tower for you. Okay, because your central cards are great, and it's only getting better. We have the star card here. She is reversed. The star card is a reminder for you to really not hold back, edit, or somehow mute your light or your fire, okay? The star card has nothing to hide. That's why she's naked. It's not salacious. It's basically saying, this is my divine self. This is my divine calling. And there's a reminder here that for many of you, where there's someone in your life that thinks that they're the star, there's room for multiple stars in the sky. Look up at the firmament. It's not just one star, okay? And so this is your turn. It's your turn to shine. In fact, for some of you, it's overdue. If there's someone in your life that's shining brighter than you, this is a reminder that they wouldn't be in your orbit in your life if you weren't in the same frequency. So we take turns just like an orbit. So it's pretty much just a perspective thing. So if I'm sitting here and a star goes around, there'll be points where it's closer and then ostensibly feels like it's a little bit brighter, and then there's other points where it's further and it seems like it's dimmer. So if you're kind of further out there, it just might be about rotation here. The other person has come to a point in their life where everything's aligned and they're shining brighter, but yours is coming. So embrace it and trust that they're in your frequency, they're in your life. You have the same potential. Applaud them, support them, and keep working on yourself. Use it as inspiration. I like to look up to people that are doing well rather than thinking, I deserve it, not them. Think, wow, how did they accomplish it? What can I learn? How can I improve myself? What can I do that's different from them that might also resonate? How can I stay authentic but be inspired by that? All right. Because of what we talked about, five of swords and seven of swords are like sister cards here. So we did get the 5 of swords, not the 7, but the 5 of swords actually is a gentler sort of energy. This is to you about really deciding that you're not going to get triggered by someone's conversation, a side comment that they make, something that they try to kind of push you into. We can also see the peer pressure kind of looming in this eyeball here. So we see someone here afraid of like, how am I going to deal with all of these things? Like, I don't know how to win this. It's not always about quote unquote winning or losing. There are some people in your life that aren't receptive to the truth. They aren't receptive to the work that needs to be done. What you have to decide is this a fight worth fighting? It may not be. There may be things in your life where someone is just not open. So when I see the 5 of swords in a love or a relationship or a people read for myself or for someone else, I realize in that moment that I'm facing someone who's closed down a bit. They're dealing with something internally, or they're acting out, but they're not listening. So pick a time when the other person and also you are more able to listen, and maybe they just are going to spout out about some stuff, and you're not going to take it personally. You're going to take a deep breath. You're going to walk away because we've got that card, and you're going to focus on what you can do and what you can be successful with. Because if they're not successful in provoking you, they'll find someone else, right? They'll poke someone else. All right. Here's the boss card, the King of Wands. This is you. This is the sparrow too. We got a lot of sparrow energy that came through in this spread. I'm happy to see it. And we can see almost like a dragon. It feels like he's either breathing it or he's fanning the flame on his hands there as you kind of look at it, or snapping it into existence. But be that as it may, what it's showing here is that there's great ability for you in the month ahead to really take the ideas and bring them to fruition. There has to be there's usually a demonstrative energy. In other words, acting out, not speaking out when it comes to wands versus swords. So with swords, there's action and there's speech, but with wands, a lot of times you have to show or you have to lead by example. There's definitely leadership with this. If you're in a position of power, this is saying walk that higher path, really elevate and be the best person you can, even if you're in an environment where that's not happening or where people are trying to kind of like get you to do something that you shouldn't do. All right. This is a great card for doing something on your own. For those of you that are deciding to be, I've been seeing so much entrepreneurial energy over the past month. I feel like I keep saying it, but I'll repeat it as long as it comes up. If you want to do it, you can do it. You can do it on your own. This is good for leadership, good for, what's the other word that I want to look for here? It's not just leadership, but it's basically championing, being a champion of something, basically saying, this is what I want. This is what I want to get behind. You could throw your energy or your weight behind a certain cause as well. So I like that quite a bit for you. Okay, so very positive, near future. You combine it with the success card that's crossing the center, and that tells me some good things are in tow. We've got the tower at the end, and we'll talk about it when we get to it, but I just want to take the journey that the cards are showing us first. All right, we have the Three of Cups here in the deep past. I'm sorry, not the deep past, but showing up in the ego for you. So with this ego card, what it's saying is that you may feel either resistant to invitations, or you may be someone who isn't super comfortable being thrown into the public, yet you're a perfect butterfly, social butterfly when it happens. So if you can get outside of your discomfort, you're going to really flourish and do well in public gatherings, public speaking, parties, or special events. But it feels like you're pulling back for some reason, some of you. And this could just be because it's been a while. Of course, because we're also in COVID, it makes a lot of sense to have fear of being in gatherings. I would too. So you can you can negotiate and figure out if that's something that you want to do. The other thing with the Three of Cups is new love and new relationships. So for many of you, there could be a new relationship on the horizon, but there is, for many of you, sort of this discomfort or struggle with like, do I really want to put myself out there again? So if you've loved and lost, because that can be this, like someone could have walked away or passed away or separated from you. There's this question mark of, do I really want someone in my life, or am I completely whole and okay on my own? There's no right answer to this. The answer already, though, is you are whole on your own, but to completely close off people in your life, you might be missing out on a new friendship, a new business venture, or perhaps someone's interested in you. I think they are based on the cards that we're seeing here. So again, friendship, partnership, or love are coming in really strong because we have Three of Cups, the princess, or basically the Page of Cups, and then the Ace. So a page is an invitation or communication. This is acceptance or interest. This is the sort of gathering that could bring it about. So if you're looking for love, this is a good time for you. I have to say that. So definitely I'm seeing some movement for you, Virgo, but there's just a question of, do you want it? Are you ready? What are you going to do about it? All of the above. For those of you in an existing relationship, this could be someone that tries to step in and cause some trouble. And we'll look at that when I take a look at relationships. It could also be your partner wanting to spend more time with you. So rekindling the flame or questioning overall commitment and long-term plans. So there's a chance to sort of get back to the relationship, the core relationship. And I don't want to say the word fix it, but I would just say lean into it and figure out how do we feel? So kind of getting real and talking, spending time together, not ignoring each other. Okay. I like what I see going on around you. This is definitely someone that's interested. The interest can be multiple things: an opportunity, a job opportunity, being asked out on a date, someone who is interested in hearing your story, learning more about you. If you're applying for a loan or an apartment or trying to buy a house, you have a chance. This is basically acceptance, interest, and intrigue, and a very sort of attractive energy. So the attraction can cut a lot of different ways depending on what you're looking for in your life. I'm one of the few, not only, but one of the few readers that doesn't just read love. I look at attracting, like cards of attraction, as also being just attractive energy. So I'm not going to just sit here and read for an hour about your person, But I'm telling you, if you're trying to find a person in your life right now, it's good. We have a really strong fire sign coming through here in the near future for many of you. And then we have water energy as well. So let's look at what this is showing us: hopes, fears, and opportunities. So do you want it? What do you want? What are you asking of the world, of the universe? This is a really important moment for your ability to manifest. So the Ace of Cups can be any ace can be the universe handing it to you, but, and often overlooked, it can also be you reaching out and saying, show me where this is. This is what I'm looking for. You're reaching, and it's going to meet you halfway. So too often we look at, the magical Rider-Waite-Smith hand giving you something. But in this one, we see someone receiving it. So what we see here is an opportunity to meet or connect. We see an offer on the table, and then we see an ability to accept. So this could be a contract. This could be love. This could be marriage. This could be getting a house, getting something. But it's a really powerful time for you to put yourself out there, because people are more likely than not going to want to hear at least more. So you could get an interview at the very least, or you could get FaceTime, or you could get a date, or you could get a call back. These are good things. So it's going to be different for everyone depending on what age you are, what you're looking for. What are you asking for from the universe? Clarify that. That's going to be super important. Okay. Next piece here is the most important one. We have the Tower card, and it's in the final position here. So it's in the outcome. Everything today has been pretty good. The only thing that's a little tricky is the Five of Swords. So the only thing that could unravel things this month is taking the bait. So if somebody tries to egg you on, bait you into something that you don't need or want to do, try to get you to kind of have a verbal explosion or something and say something that you don't want to say, yeah, that can get you in trouble. But that's it. Everything else is looking pretty good. Towers can be very beneficial. This can be a shortcut to the Fool. You don't have to go all the way to the World. You can just clear out the foundation and zero it out here and then go to the Fool card. So if you're looking for a new beginning, the Tower tells me it can happen a lot faster than you think. Also, Towers can be positive if you finally get your dream, whatever, your dream job, your dream relationship. Have you ever noticed people that a lot of times if we look at like an award show, whether it's, Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, Brits, etc., you see someone finally kind of getting on stage and they just lose it, right? They're a mess. They have a speech. They can't remember their name, what's going on. They're crying. It's not because their life is a mess. It's because they just got a Tower moment. They didn't expect it, and the rug was pulled out from under, especially if it's a dark horse where they didn't think they were going to win. Everything came together. It can also be after years of waiting, something really clicks. You end up finding a way to accomplish a goal, or you meet someone and you didn't think it was going to happen. You get a little weepy when these things finally happen because there's been a lot of buildup. So the Tower can just be an emotional release. It can be finally a breakthrough. It's not always bad. Not always bad. It does show that you can avoid the energy of change. So it feels like the theme of the month ahead. We're going to pull an extra card when I'm finished with the expanded forecast. But when I look at that, I'd be interested to see if we don't see some sort of an emphasis on that. So change is the best way to kind of move forward. And the question for you is, are you ready for it? Are you resistant to it? Can you ride it? Can you, in a positive way, manipulate it so that there might be something advantageous about the change that's happening? All of these things are things to think about as you step from December into January. Okay. Let's move into your expanded forecast, looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin with your health card, which has to do with mental clarity. So it says, focus your mind, and it's just a gratitude message at the bottom. Thank you, angels, for helping me focus on my priorities. And so for many of you right now, maybe you've put yourself or you've put a key priority in the sort of like, back burner or in the back seat, and it's ready now to take its proper place in your life. So if something hasn't been where it needed to be, focus on that. Also, mental clarity. So if you've had, this can actually be sort of the solution to the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups has a positive connotation, which is ideation, daydreaming, brainstorming, exploring, all of that. But it can also be lack of focus, distraction, inability to concentrate. If any of that's going on, you may need to talk to a professional. It could be something that's going on because of stress. It could be chemical So standard disclaimers always apply with health messages. You should talk to someone if you need help, but the focus piece is key. Things that don't require medical assistance on this, though, I would say, is to do less, but do it better. So a lot of times when we're thrown that Two of Pentacles card, and less so with the Six of Pentacles, but definitely with the two, we're being asked to make a choice. Focus on one, not that. With the Six of Pentacles, we can do a few things, but not everything. Similar messages. You may have, it's going to be different for all of you, but one of those two messages probably applies. Do less, do it better. All right. And also, if there's something that you're trying to really convey to someone, you need to be able to do the quote unquote elevator pitch, being able to, in a few words, summarize what it's about, right? So sometimes I like to practice. If you have a project that you're trying to summarize, think of a theme to your, or kind of like the story of a major movie, right? So I can summarize the whole Star Wars trilogy in a few words. It's basically just about a son redeeming the sins of his father and helping his father come into the light. Son and sister, so son and daughter, they're basically helping their father be redeemed, and they refuse to destroy him, especially the son. That's it. It's a family drama. There's a lot of other things. There's war, there's romance, there's all kinds of things. It's also about finding your inner strength. So you could talk to someone about, like, it's a psychic movie, by the way, the original trilogy. I could do without the beginning. Prequels and sequels are not as good, but the original three are pretty solid because they have telepathy, they have telekinesis, they're talking about energy in the universe. All that stuff is kind of cool. That's how I would summarize it to someone. So you don't have to go into the whole plot points and the breakdowns. No one needs to know about Wookiees and about Alderaan and all of that. So break it down into the most important pieces. And another example is, like, if I try to explain what I want to do in my life, it's to raise collective consciousness. 3 words. I also like to demystify esoteric things. Like, I like to talk about spirituality, and I want to normalize it as well. Have intelligent conversations about spirituality. That's it in a nutshell. A lot of things that I do and a lot of ways that I do it. But if I can break down who I am, what I do, and what I'm trying to accomplish, it's a lot more interesting. Get to the point. And that's what this card is saying. All right, specifically looking at some other, so you're wondering, why does this come through for health? If something's going wrong in your body, if something's driving you crazy, if you're trying to get something happening, the frustration, the anxiety that you're feeling, it's holding you back on multiple fronts, in health and in wealth. So clarification, mental clarification is going to be key. A little assignment that I used to give people that I would manage is to take one of these cards and put a goal or put a statement on it and write in normal size writing and try to get it on an index card. Try to do 2 to 3 sentences if you can. You lose people after you go there. Okay. Some other things for health. Watch where you're walking. The Fool card can trip. The dog is warning the Fool not to sort of like go there because there's a cliff. We don't know if it's a small cliff or really deep. So don't get distracted. Nowadays, it's our smart watches, smartphones, all that jazz. We need to make sure that we're not, and even our headphones. So make sure that if you're having a conversation, if you're looking at something, that you're also scanning your periphery, especially if you're driving. All that stuff needs to just go to the side. So when traveling, pay attention. Some of you might have had a close brush, health like a health call, like with brush with death, or just like a wake-up call. So if you get that wake-up call, answer it, listen to it. It's important. You can make positive changes, but if you don't, it comes back. So that's another thing. Exercise, moderation. I feel like every single sign is getting the 3 of Cups because we're going into holiday season. Around the corner is Christmas, Hanukkah. Hanukkah's already done, but Christmas, Kwanzaa, and New Year's. So we got all of that stuff on the horizon and a lot of excuses to kind of be out there. So take care of yourself. Don't overdo things. These are the main messages that I'm seeing here. I think you're going to be okay otherwise. All right, let's get into your wealth card. We had a little bit of health and wealth blurring together with the summarization energy that we just talked about. But Cernunnos came through here for wealth. And the message here for Cernunnos is to express your driving passion. Sexual and sensual powers are increased. So this is about your second, I would say your first and second, but definitely your second chakra. And this is about making sure that you're not afraid to express yourself. In some decks, Cernunnos can actually kind of appear on the Devil card. And sometimes we're taught to be shameful of, afraid of, or to be quiet of, like the passion in our life. So, or what we're attracted to, or what kind of like makes us happy. So wherever that might have occurred for you, this card is coming through to say, no, that's part of your divine gift. Like sensuality and sexuality is part of who we are. It doesn't have to be the focus of things, but if you really like doing a particular activity, if you want to express yourself creatively, if you love someone and other people don't agree with the person that you love, that's your business, not theirs. If you're an adult and you're doing something that's not hurting anyone, and who is anyone else to judge here? So this card is really about being yourself. And this could enter for some of you into, for whatever reason, we're seeing blurring of the lines here. When we're looking at wealth, you might be not able to express yourself at your job, or you might be holding back. Let's say you are an actor, an artist, a someone in sports or performance, and maybe you're hiding a part of your life because you're afraid to express that. This card is just saying, be yourself, because you actually have the success card right smack dab in the center, crossing the center card. So if you own it and if you love it, other people will too. Okay, so just be yourself. Let's look specifically at some wealth messages here. You know, I'm looking at all of these. Just want to make sure. Yeah, there are no pentacles. So let me, I'm going to write a question here. When I look at my reader's choice, I want to make sure I understand why we're not seeing resources. So that's my question when I look at it. But let's just look really quickly at the general messages here for resources. You have very attractive energy. So if you're lacking anything, you can pull it into your life. So the fact that I didn't see it doesn't bother me, because we have all kinds of people in the Six of Wands, even if they're not shown here, they're illustrated by birds instead. We have lots and lots of cups here with the Three of Cups, Princess of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. And I see some big changes happening for you. You may be asked to move on, move out. It was one of my topics that I put for the weekend. It didn't get many votes, but you definitely have that here, this movement energy. So it might be time to walk away from something for you. If you've been stagnating in a job or situation for a while, this is movement from one to another, and this is ascension into something better, and this is success, and these are people all around you that are celebrating that. So I definitely see for many of you this judgment call that now is the moment for me to step into that new me, into something new. Okay, so I like that. I think that's really positive. Be yourself and be successful, and also establish your own parameters for what success means to you. Your version of it could differ greatly from others. It's not just money. It's not just title. It's creative freedom. It's independence. It's the ability to kind of own your own time and create your own schedule and think your own thoughts, right? All of these things that are oftentimes judged, policed, and controlled by others. If you can actually take ownership over them, you're the richest person in the universe. You don't take the money with you. It's nice to have while you're on the planet, but it doesn't go with you. So the lessons you learn, the love that you experience, and the things that you learn as a soul, that stuff transfers. That goes into the digital transfer from one soul to another. The material stuff, this body, the clothes that we wear, all that stuff, that doesn't come with you. So focus on really being who you want to be. And I feel like you're going to draw in what you need, even without the resource stuff. Okay. But a change needs to happen. If you've reached a glass ceiling, shatter it or move beyond it. Move somewhere else. Find a place where there's no, don't want to live in a glass house anyway, right? So why would you want that glass ceiling? Go somewhere where you have more room to breathe. Okay, let's look at love now. We have the Temple. Oh, but one last card. There definitely is boss energy here. So you may, I mentioned earlier the sparrow. There could be a boss testing your limits. So they may want you to work too much. You might also be tested with trying to manage people that have like low morale or are just acting out or speaking out. So that's one thing that you'll have to contend with. It looks like you're going to be able to successfully manage any of these things, but that's something to think about. All right, love. We have the Temple of Truth. What a powerful message to come through for love. And guess what came through? Again, so many synchronicities today. It's lovely to see it when this happens. If you read the bottom, it says throat chakra, authenticity, and self-expression. That's the sparrow if I ever heard it or saw it. So this is a new deck that I bought with all of your support. So thank you from Kyle Gray. But I like this. And this is all about gateways. So the gateway in this one is the communication center, the throat chakra. So speak your truth. Remember I said sing a song? It's your song and it needs to be authentic. And that's going to be so important. So your new relationships, and as we established, there's a lot of them incoming. They are going to really, really depend on and feed off of your particular point of view, your authenticity, your approach on this. So let's dig into the 3 things that I normally like to look at for those of you that are in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or single and happy. Okay, let me turn the camera down and we're going to break it down for all of you. A little Apollo there in the background holding space. All right, if you're in a relationship right now, there has to be some big changes. It's a period of, like, I would say make it or break it, and you're either going to grow or go. It's all about like these little sayings here, but it makes sense because if we pay attention to the really major arcana cards here, there's been a decision or something that's been in the making for a while with Judgment. Then we have at the center the Fool card. Then we have the Star and the Tower. And across all of it, it tells me you're going to be good no matter what. But the Fool is freedom. The Star is expansion. And this is about a second, sort of like second chance, reincarnation, second coming. You have this new beginning. Is this relationship going to travel like go the distance? If this person wants to take that leap with you, if you want to invest in it, then yes. But there is a chance that some of you are at a sort of nexus or turning point. If we're looking at sort of a job type relationship, like boss and coworker, I think it's falling apart on some levels here because we have Judgment, Fool, and Tower, and that tells me you've decided to move on and it's going to be okay. 3 of Cups also tells me it's a really good time for you to be looking out there. At the very least, you should see what's being offered elsewhere. You could come back and then have a counter to that. Something needs to change. In an existing relationship, we need to look at the spark. We need to look at commitment. There is a chance to reignite that spark, but work has to be done. If things are peachy, then it might just mean that there's going to be a physical move for you because the Fool and the Tower are about, the only thing that's missing from this equation is the World. Those are 2 moving cards, and maybe the 10 of Wands, but that's a move and that's a move. So somebody's moving. Some travel is going to be happening. Something's going to be shifting. So the change has to happen. But the most challenging thing for all relationships this month is going to be communicating and not fighting about things that aren't worth fighting about. So there's certain sort of like, what would you call it? Just like hot button issues that are not going to be worth pressing the other person on. Okay. So that's existing relationships, not fighting unnecessarily, growth and movement, getting real, reigniting the spark if you need to, otherwise moving on because it feels like there's some big growth opportunities for you. If you're looking for love this month, it feels like it's sort of contingent upon the move or the change in your life. Change in health, change of mind, change of location. There's a big life change that has to happen first. You've made the decision, but you have to accept it and step into it. Once you do that, it happens pretty rapidly. It feels like it's fire energy because that's near future, and we just see a lot of love and attraction cards here in the environment. So it's a great time for you to pull that energy into your life. But you've got to make that fresh start. You have to make the decision. You have to let go of something. There's a big internal shift or growth that has to happen first. You've got a lot of options. Be discerning, okay? Be picky. For those of you that are single, happy, widowed and not looking, just focusing on career, good for you. It's a really good time to be focusing on that. Guess what, though? There's a lot of people, like I said, knocking on your door. Literally and metaphorically here, because we've got the 6 of Wands, success, public visibility, the Star, visibility, celebrity, the 3 of Cups, public situations, a lot of people. So some of you might have just gotten this new level of visibility, which is cool, but can also be like, uh-oh, how am I going to deal with that? There's a lot of people, a lot of choices. Be discerning on new partnerships for sure. It does look like you could make a change. It's really going to redirect your trajectory. Based on everything, the Tower is positive, but it's still a Tower and it takes time to adjust. So going back to your Oracle card for this, it's about using your voice, speaking authentically, and also kind of really expressing yourself, which is what Cernunnos wanted you to do. Because if we look at this, it says express your passion, right? They're all overlapping this month in a very healthy way. So that's why we have to kind of holistically look at things. But anyway, I'm excited. Looks like you're going to be able to, there's some big changes coming through for all of you. It doesn't look like it's going to be same old, same old. All right, we have, I think it's pronounced Lou here, but skill is your main focus when we're looking at your destiny card. So remember back in the beginning when I said knowledge expansion was part of this? This particular card is going to that as well. So here it is, knowledge expansion, education, training, all of that. We don't always need the 8 of Pentacles for that, but that would be kind of what we see, 8 and 3 of Pentacles here. So this is a really good time for you to hone your skills a little bit. I had a question on the weekend saying, is it home or hone? You hone something, you sharpen it. So you would sharpen your skills, you home in on something if you're trying to locate it. So you would hone your skills here and decide what is it that I really want to get better at? What do I want to focus on? So again, doing less but doing it better is going to be the most important thing. All right. So let's pull one card for the big idea, and then let's get into, I really like this next portion. We're going to look at a lot of different things. You're going to vote a little bit, and I'm going to look at some stuff too. So we're going to focus first on the big idea. What's the overarching energy for this month? What can we do with the energy of all this change that's coming through? If it doesn't get answered here, don't worry. I'll put these in the poll that you'll get to answer or vote on in just a moment. All right. So big idea for your sign for the next 6 to 8 weeks. We have the Lovers. Lovely, lovely card here. So if there was any question of the ability to pull in something new, something positive, rest assured that you're sitting in a pretty good place right now. So the question for you is, what do you want to do with this energy of attraction? Are you ready to receive? Are you holding back a little bit? Virgo, this is your time right now. And for those of you that have, I have a placement in your sign in my Venus. So for those of you that have it in love, this is saying, it doesn't have to just be like love and love relationships, but it's just sort of like your passion, your energy. It's going to be really good. So put your heart into it. If you have a Venus placement this month, the fact that we have the Lovers reversed, it's very auspicious. It's just a question of you owning it. Some of you are in disbelief that people could actually be interested or ready, or that this is real. So this is kind of like me knocking on the virtual door here and saying, this is real. Open up to it. Notice how we have lots of, they're angels here, but we have lots of angels, lots of birds in this deck. Spread your wings. Remember, that was one of the last messages that I came through. Okay. So if you're single and happy, this card is saying that you still have this potential right now to really pull in opportunities. So embrace that. That's why with the 3 of Cups, it's important to put yourself out there. If you're shy or uncertain or nervous or whatever, again, virtually too, like, you know, it can be on Zooms or things like that, but it's important to connect. Do the networking this month for if you're professional, even if you're retired, whatever, there's going to be some great interactions that come across. All right, let's take a look now at blessings and blocks. We'll do blessings and blocks, then I'll put a question out there for you to vote on. All right, so blessings, just like they sound, or blessing, something for you to really focus on, embrace. Sometimes it's a hidden blessing, so let's see what the cards have to show us. What is the blessing for this next month and a half? So the blessing for some of you is discovery. These are related cards. The Hermit holds the star. He or she just hasn't realized who they are just yet. So I think many of you are stepping out of the Hermit. You are maybe still in the Hermit and discovering this. What this card really supports is research, deeper, esoteric, spiritual, religious sort of journeys. It's also showing that before you share something with the world, you might be sharpening your, sort of figurative pencil here and figuring out, what do I want to do here? Is this ready? You're kind of getting the final touches on something before you emerge. But there is the emergence on the horizon. So if you don't see it, it's still there. Look a little deeper is what the Hermit says. You'll find it. That's the blessing. There's something that you're going to uncover. All right, let's look at the block for you and see what the universe wants you to sort of be just cautious about. Okay, just patience, one step at a time. I do like temperance. Sometimes temperance can be a little lukewarm. So if you have something important and you're trying to quote unquote play it cool, don't play it too cool. It's good to show a little bit of vulnerability, a little bit of imperfection. People relate to that. Now in the days where we see so many performers just like lip syncing all the time, if I'm talking about music a lot, but it's just kind of, it was in my head this morning. But if it's so nice to see a real performance, and it doesn't matter to me if they don't hit every note. I want to see, like, are they into it? What's the whole band? What's the setup? What's everything? What's the overarching sort of thing? And then the fact that it's live and they're putting on that performance for us, that's the kind of cool thing. So you want to see some effort. Put in the effort. A lack of effort could be your block. Impatience could be your block. Not taking the first step could be your block. Temperance is patience. It's slow and it's steady, but sometimes we need to rev it up a little bit, and you don't want to be too calm, too cool, or err on the side of not feeling like, not kind of showing that you're into this, okay? Great. So we looked at blessings and blocks. Let me throw some questions out to you now. I'm going to give you a chance to vote on some of the trends that I'm seeing in these cards here. So if you're watching live, this will be cool. Give me like 1 moment to type everything up, and then you'll have a chance to give some feedback. Okay, so I would be remiss not to look at things like the tower because it's front and center here. So let's take a look at the energy of change. Okay, so we'll create a poll, viewer's choice. The first thing that I want to look at is the tower. So we'll call this riding the wave of the tower. The next one, basically looking at the positive elements of it. Let's look here real quick. Okay, so I want to sort out what's going on with people opportunities. So we won't just call it relationship energy, but I will kind of look at people and opportunities. Makes a little bit more sense. So people and opportunities. And now for the last one, I'm going to look at resources on my own while you're voting on all of these. I think it's important for some of you to decide to stay or to go. To stay or to go. Okay, so you guys get to vote on that right now. I'm going to pull a card looking into your resources a little bit, because it seems like for some reason we're not seeing any Pentacles cards. So I want to see if there's a message there, or if you don't need to worry because you had all of these great attractive forces that we're picking up on. Okay. Looking at resources and why there's no resource cards here. It's going to be fine. We have the Sun card here. And first of all, the Sun is one of the ultimate attractive forces, because if you look at how far it reaches out, like the fact that it goes not even just to Pluto, but beyond, like we have the Kuiper belt and we have things beyond Neptune and beyond Pluto. It's kind of amazing how far its gravity reaches. So one thing this is telling me, and by the way, look, you'll see little hands on the Sun. Rachel True and whoever, if she illustrated or if someone else illustrated it, fabulous illustration here, because it shows the ability to really get what you want. But you have to see it, you have to believe it, you have to kind of lean into that manifestation and trust that your charisma, leaning into that solar plexus energy as well, is going to be really important. So I need to believe you when you say something. You need to believe you when you say something. And if you kind of just really put that charisma and that personality, and we were talking about performance a few moments ago, that performance out there, that's going to be really important. All right, let's end the poll now. And it looks like the people and opportunities came together. So let's see what's going on there. So let's see real quick if it was, okay, here we go. By a very good margin, we got people and opportunities by 41%. Okay, so let's see what's going on with that, because it's not necessarily just love, but there's so many relationship cards here that, like I said, I would be remiss not to look at this. By the way, if you have questions, hold it until the end, because we'll do a silent meditation where you can ask it. I don't answer questions in real time. Thank you for being patient. Okay, so back to my thought, which was, again, people and opportunities. Interesting. Okay, so we, first of all, I very rarely read the Two of Pentacles as a resource card. I look at it as an opportunity to balance your life out. So for some of you, You're being asked to call into question the importance of these relationships in your life. So for those of you that are in a partnership or have just started dating, do you really have the time for it? Are you really making the time for that other person or the other people in your life? So prioritization and the balancing act. Something has to give and take a little bit. Looks like you might need to give a little bit more. Your partner needs to give a little bit more to you. For those of you looking at people around you, there's a question of investment. So for those of you that this might actually relate more to a business partnership, a coworker, or some sort of a financial transaction, the question here is this someone who is just kind of, half interested, half-hearted? We really want someone that's 100% in your court. So it's important to have being on the same page, the same foot here, equal footing. You should be equal partners in something. And I also feel like we're looking at balance across relationships. So you have some choices on what you want to develop. So if you're feeling disconnected from family or friends, if you're feeling like relationships aren't happening, if you're feeling like the outsider, the truth of the matter for some of you is that there are opportunities, but you need to kind of like lean into that. But overall, it's about time and energy balance. Also, you could be tapped out. We've all had those telephone calls or face-to-face meetings with someone, whether it's 10 minutes or 2 hours. Sometimes it can exhaust you, right? So you have to kind of figure out. Sometimes it's really enlightening, though. I've had some really great conversations where you don't even notice that the time has flown. Sometimes some of my best friends or close family members, you can just talk on the phone for hours and it feels like nothing. But it's that question of, did I feel like this was cool and I want to talk again or hang out again? Or do I feel like the balloon was deflated? And that is a really important kind of litmus test for you moving forward and deciding what are you going to do. You should feel that energy of being lifted up, okay? And a lot of times for many of us, that's our pets too, right? Pets, best friends, close family members, usually they can be there for us in a way that others can't. So spend some time with people, and also I would say not just with people, but with kind of like community or activities in your life that really kind of lift you up, okay? Good. All right, so I just answered the viewer's choice. Let's go now into the year ahead. I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget that this year because that's this month because it's a new edition. So let's take a look at 2022. I'm going to pull past, present, and future cards. I'm just kind of lining my cards up here so I have some room on the table. All right, so let me pull the camera down here and let's take a look at 2022, past, present, and future. You have so much relationship energy. I'm very heartened by this. I don't think you can avoid having a new friendship or a new relationship or a new opportunity in your horizon. I am not someone that brings it up unless it comes through, but love is definitely a part of this, love and friendships and relationships. So quickly, I'll show you and then we'll kind of walk through them. So past, we have the King of Pentacles card here. Thank goodness we have something with that. We have a kind of rebellious, Hierophant reversed. And then we have Four of Wands and unexpected. Four of Wands because it's reversed coming through in the future. So let's break it down into each one and then we'll move on to the final part of this reading. Okay. King of Pentacles, yay. The reason that I may not be seeing it right now for many of you is because it looks like you've been focusing on it. This is past influences. So I'm looking at the future, not necessarily the present or the past, but in this particular card, I'm looking at past influences. So many of you have either accomplished what you wanted, you have what you need, or you've made a decision to move beyond some of the material, financial, or whatever resource energy you might have been focusing on in the year behind us now, 2021. So looking at 2022, this card is telling me that whether or not you have it, you have the capacity to create it. He is the ultimate card in the resource suit of Pentacles, Midas touch, very tuned in. We see all of those antlers there connecting to the higher source and the ability to really create something great. This, by the way, is house and home and nesting. It's very interesting that we have a card here that would be moving away from the nest. We have a nest here. So for some of you, you're moving away from the nest. and take that however you want it to be, whether it's sort of figurative or literal. You're going to kind of like move from your home or move out of a relationship, or you could be moving in, because the tower can work either way. And this could be getting into a new nest, etc. So overall, I like what I'm seeing here. And it seems like we don't have to worry about the monetary or resource energy, because it's already been worked on, or it's something that you've established and it's going to manifest itself. All right, as we look at the big sort of energy for the beginning of next year, the present energy moving you into 2022, we have Hierophant reverse, which is basically the opposite of what we would see in a Hierophant card, which is structure, predictability, answering to a chain of command. This is basically saying that you might be finding a way around a traditional hierarchy. So it's not always one person that's going to hold the keys to the gate in the kingdom. If you look really close on most cards, you'll see that there are keys on the Hierophant card. You hold the key. Going back to the Ganesha energy, you are whole, you are complete, you have the capacity to connect, not just to the divine, but to your purpose, to whatever you're trying to do. So you may not go the traditional route. Maybe that means you're not going to get married, or not going to work a corporate job, or you're not going to get into a house by a certain age, or whatever it is that your parents expected of you. There's something about you that is just a little rebellious, because that's what the Fool is. It's going counter to expectation rather. So be willing and be sort of open to going counter if you want to, because we've seen this throughout your spread. I'm not really worried about you finding people. It's a good month and a good year for you. We have 4 of Wands. This can be a wedding. This can be a partnership. This can be a best friend. This is also just a really firm foundation to bring in the highest kind of energies. It's reversed. So I want you to start to be open to having some great people come into your life. It doesn't have to be love, but don't be so surprised when they come. Okay. You've done the work. It's kind of interesting that a lot of you kind of like pulled back from that, but that's actually kind of like the law of detachment. When you're not looking for it or disinterested, a lot of times it comes forth even more. So we see some really great energy coming through for you. So I'm excited for you, and I hope you are as well. So it looks like a great year ahead. The important thing for you is to kind of walk your own path. One last thing before we move into the final portion is, the temple of truth that came through for all these relationship cards. It has to do about throat chakra. So speaking your truth, being authentic, and self-expression. And we looked at your wealth card. It was also life force Sununos, and it said, express your driving passion. Really be authentic in that passion. Okay. I think once you do this, some fantastic stuff is going to really come through in the year ahead for you. So let's move on. This really kind of went fast today. All the stuff we went through, some really cool energy. Great room today, by the way. Quiet, but great room. I appreciate it. We're going to move on to the meditation here in just a second. Before we do that, first of all, write down what your final question is. I saw a bunch of questions coming through. Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Now you can, but silently. So not in chat, but silently. So while we're meditating, I want you to think about your question, and then afterwards I will answer it. Before we step into the meditation, just one more chance right now to go ahead and like and subscribe if you've never subscribed, and you can only like once per video. We're just shy of half, so if we could get up to 200 likes in the live, I'd appreciate that. It helps. And then if you'd like to show some support and give back, you can still do that, and I'll make sure to mention your name at the very end. So you can do that by clicking right here and giving back a little bit if you'd like to. And again, you can do it on replay by clicking thanks. All right, so let's go ahead now and prep for the meditation. Meditation takes 2 minutes. Let's stick around if we can, because it'll be worth it, and I'll answer your final question after that. I'm going to give you a chance to vote on the instrument that I play. So which instrument would you like? I have a singing bowl and also a crystal pyramid. Both of them are actually crystal, but the singing bowl, I just wanted to kind of like clear it up. So I play a little sound bath there. So if you know what they sound like, if you have a sort of like preference, go ahead and vote on it. I want to work with the energy of birds. I mean, we had the sparrow that came through today, and I kind of like this energy of the nest. And let's imagine that maybe you're a baby bird leaving the nest. I like that imagery. So close your eyes. First, focus on your body before we set the scene for the meditation. And just kind of stretch your arms up for a second, stretch them out. Take a nice deep breath. Take your shoulders up and back for a moment if you need to release some of the tension in your neck you can just do a gentle one to the left and to the right, maybe front and back. For those of you that have a little more flexibility, you can do a full sort of circle forward and back. It's not about how fast or how far, it's just about opening up the neck. We also want to open up the throat a little, which is why I'm doing that. All right, I want you to imagine that you are in a tree, in a nest, you're safe, you have everything that you need and want around you. You might have your mama and papa bird right there as well, but you are now feeling the desire, the drive to explore, to try something new. Imagine that you've just been fed, you're nourished, and your wings are strong now, you're old enough, you're ready. It doesn't matter if you are, 18 or 118, this is your moment now to start something new again, to kind of spread your wings. So if you feel heartened by looking at other birds starting to take flight, look at them, look at how easy it is. Maybe it takes a second to kind of like work the kinks out a little bit, but after a moment or two, you just feel like this is your moment, this is your calling. So imagine that you take a step, you spread your wings, and that the wind carries you. It's easier than you thought. The universe was just waiting for you to take that step. Now, like a Rider-Waite-Smith card, there's a big, like an ace, there's these hands that are kind of lifting you up and helping you get where you want to be. Don't limit how far you can fly or where you can go. As I play the singing bowl here in just a moment, I want you to really open up to seeing the horizon. Imagine that you're on the verge of a brand new day. The brilliant sun is shining, tangerine, orange, gold energy all across the sky, plus the perfect blue sky around you. So everything is illuminated. Take this moment now to just float a little bit, to just almost like a hang glider. You're just being able to kind of like drift on your own momentum and see where this takes you. See where the energy allows you to land, okay? Close your eyes, relax, be lifted up by the wind, and feel that as you're doing this also, if, in the meditation, you can hear your throat opening up and you're chirping, you're singing your own song, okay? Gently allow yourself to take a sort of soft landing, almost like your feather reaching the surface. You just gently find a place where you're going to plant your feet. Look at where you've come. Look at how far you've come. Take a look over your shoulder and imagine now that you're kind of morphing from that sparrow back into human form. And understand now that you have the capacity to really move forward with leaps and bounds. It starts with a baby step. Sometimes it's easy sailing, sometimes there's a little bit of turbulence, but look at how far you can go, look at how far you will go, look at how far you've already come, and realize that there's only more in front of you. It's the world is your oyster, so this is your chance to really embark on this new journey, okay? Gently come back into your body by taking a nice deep breath. Rub your hands together, put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that, and just solidify your intention, whatever it was, wherever you want to go, wherever you want to be, know that that is coming. All right, let's take a look at now whatever your question is for me. Think it, meditate on it, speak it out loud if you'd like to. You don't have to type it, just think about it, and let's see what the questions are bringing us to here in this tarot card. So what's the answer to the collective questions that are incoming? Highest good, highest opportunity. Patience, not always the most popular card to come through, but we have the Hanged Man and he's upright. So what this is telling me for many of you is that soon, very soon, not immediately, but soon. So it's not a no, but it's a not yet, or it's a be patient sort of card. Keep moving, keep making this action happen, and you'll soon reap the rewards of it. But just as the card, like the history of the card would imply, we have to sometimes wait to get that final reward. But based on everything that I see here, it is going to happen. So I would say don't force something. So for those of you that really want to buy something, get someone's attention, etc., this card is saying that if you're getting some pushback, there could be a reason or a guiding hand to the pushback. There could be something better en route. There could be a reason that you need to get some more information before you commit to it. So this is a blessing. There's a little bit of wait time, but eventually it works out and you'll be better prepared when it does. And that's the final kind of answer to this. So soon, but not yet. And don't force it. If someone isn't ready or if something isn't prepared, it's kind of like cooking. If you've ever baked anything, you don't want to eat it when it's not risen, right? If it's a cupcake or a cake or a cookie. Cookies maybe, but even they can be too raw and you'll get sick sometimes if you eat something that's not cooked correctly. So you need to let things cool and cook and finish. Don't eat something if it's not done. Don't force something if it's not ready. Okay, that's the main message. What a beautiful and lovely reading. It was really my pleasure to read for you today. I can feel a really great connection to everybody. Depends reading to reading, but some really solid energy coming through today, and it was my pleasure to be here for you. So just a couple notes here. Again, if you need any information on my upcoming schedule, is the schedule. And a quick reminder when it comes to social media. I'd already put a link out there earlier, but remember that most of my social media is just my name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. There's a lot of imposters that are out there right now. So if in doubt, go to my official website. Remember, I don't do private readings. I'll never send a direct message. I don't use WhatsApp, and I don't use really any way of directly connecting and asking for things. This is the way we connect here in a live stream. So if anyone tries to do that, report them and also send me a note so I can be aware of it. And I'll try to do my best to kind of like quash out any of these imposters. There's been a lot on Instagram, so I just wanted to warn some folks. Also, a couple of scheduling notes. Later this week, we'll be looking at Libra. I'll be doing that on Thursday, December 16th, 9 a.m. Scorpio on Friday, December 17th, 9 a.m. I'll have another collective this Sunday. You can see the other signs over the next 2 weeks. At the very end of this month, I hope you can join me for New Year's Eve on the 31st. We'll be doing something special, and I'll be posting more on social media and here on the community tab as we get a little closer, but it'll be probably a year in like a snapshot of what's coming through, maybe month by month, or maybe overarching energy, or maybe some big questions that you guys have about the new year. So something special on New Year's Eve. I hope you can join me for that. Thank you to Maria for posting all of my official social handles there. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to take a moment to just express some gratitude for everyone that gave back, any new channel members today, etc., because you guys make it possible. One last thing while I'm doing this, if you like this and you've never subscribed, again, right now, for some reason, it's like 70% of the people that watch haven't. So let's change that. If you've never subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you've already done it, don't do it again. That would unsubscribe. Please do like, and then also share this with some people so that we can kind of grow the channel and grow this community. All right, to my new members, I'd like to just say welcome to these folks. Looks like we had someone new today, rejoin, actually, I'm sorry. So Rise Up Yoga, thank you. Welcome back after 3 months. Good to have you back here. And I think everyone else I mentioned yesterday. And then just quickly to say thank you to anyone that gave a sticker or super chat. I just want to acknowledge it. It's going to be pretty fast here. So Heidi Jo Brown, thank you so much for your contribution. Andrea M, thank you. Sandra, thank you. Alice Felice, Elaine Walsh, and Just Finding Me 7. Thank you so much, especially for that 20. I appreciate it. And to anybody else that, like I said, wants to give back later, you can do that by clicking the thanks button near the share icon underneath the video. And in the meantime, thank you so much. Especially I see a bunch of people that are already members. So thank you to the members for your continual support. And thanks to everyone that's a brand new subscriber and that liked and shared it. I appreciate it. Hope to see you later this week, again, Thursday and Friday, and again on Sunday. If you can make it, please do. You can always show up if you just want to hang out and see what's coming through, because I read the energy of those who are present. So I appreciate your presence no matter what sign you are. Thank you very much to Natalie Ray. Before I wrap up here, I just saw that. All right, everyone, have a great week ahead, great holiday season. If you happen to be watching in January, have a happy new year. Take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and remember, you are whole, you are complete, and there's a lot to love, a lot of heart energy that came through. All right, take care. Bye-bye.